In the last section, we spoke about promises, we spoke about then and catch. So we've definitely seen some of the methods of registering a callback and all that stuff, but it's time to finally answer how promises are used to solve the issue of asynchronous code. So the trick to dealing with asynchronous code is through how we call, resolve, and reject, and most importantly, deciding when we want to call them. The truth is that inside of a promise, specifically, or especially I should say, with AJAX requests, everything still falls back to the browser, and the browser telling us when some long-running process, like in the case of an AJAX request, has been completed. So I'm going to simulate some long-running process here. So I'm going to say set timeout, and only after, let's say, 3 seconds, do I want to actually go ahead and resolve this promise here. And so in this case, we're using the set timeout to kind of simulate a very long-running process, where we might, basically something that's going to take a long time, and I want my code to continue executing in the background, other things to happen, and just wait for the promise to actually get resolved here. So we're going to wait for 3,000 milliseconds, or just 3 seconds, and then after that amount of time, we're going to go ahead and resolve the promise. Oops. So I'm going to copy all this over and hit enter, and then notice nothing happened. We're still pending, and then after 3 seconds we see finally finished and I was also ran. We can do the exact same thing with reject as well. So I'm going to put in reject instead of resolve, paste it, we wait 3 seconds, and then we see uh-oh, because the promise at the end of the day was rejected as opposed to resolved. So this is exactly how internally AJAX requests are handled with promises. Internally, whenever we make an AJAX request, you would see something like, well, I'm going to just do some ad hoc ES5 code here. This is not necessarily accurate, and we're not going to execute this. I just want to give you a practical example. If our request is new XHTML request, I know I did a typo on that, and we might do some configuration of the request, and then we would register a callback with request. So onload, run this function. And this onload right here is a property of an XHTML request. So this is the very root, getting down to as close to the metal inside the browser as we can possibly get. And then inside of here, we would finally resolve the request. So again, promises and AJAX requests, behind the scenes, they're all still making normal looking requests like this. We just, over time, have come to really associate promises with AJAX requests because they go together like peanut butter and jelly. So on that note, let's continue the next section. We're going to see the most common use of promises, which is to use them with the fetch handler, or the fetch object, which is also new to ES6. So I will catch you in the next section.